Joe Exotic, the outlandish and self-proclaimed Tiger King, gave us a rare jailhouse interview, his first since his recent resentencing, for hiring a hitman to kill his arch enemy. Why the former zookeeper says he doesn't belong behind bars.
Come here, love me.
You know, people are nuts, man.
It was the viral must-watch during pandemic lockdown.
My name's Joe Exotic, and this is Sarge.
Tiger King, as salacious as it was scandalous. The bingeable docuseries you had to see to believe.
There's not every day that a zookeeper went to prison for murder for hire.
The Netflix hit tracing a seemingly never-ending feud between animal rights activist Carole Baskin and Joe Exotic, a former Oklahoma zookeeper who's now serving a 21-year sentence for a murder for hire plot against her. So many of us were tweeting, debating, and even dancing over the success of the series. Through it all, one voice was largely silent, the Tiger King himself, until now.
Hi, is this Juju?
This is she. Is this Joe?
This is Joe.
Last month, Joe, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado-Passage, was resentenced, dropping a year off the now 21 years in prison he has to face for murder for hire counts and for the killing and selling of tigers. During his trial, it was alleged that he paid $3,000 to a hitman to travel from Oklahoma to Florida to murder Carole Baskin, who runs Big Cat Rescue in Florida. In a wide-ranging interview, he maintained his innocence and vowed to appeal, hoping to submit a 200-page motion for a new trial as early as this week. Let me ask you the question point blank, Joe, which is, everyone wants to know, did you hire a hitman to kill Carole Baskin?
Absolutely not. How can you even expect somebody to go from Oklahoma to Florida to scope her out, however long that would take, and back on $3,000? That is absurd.
I know that you've been faced with a lot of health crises. How are you doing?
Well, I'm losing weight real bad, and the sores in my mouth are unbearable to live with all the time. But, in the 3.5 years that I've been in custody, I've been taken to the hospital 43 times.
Over the weekend, he wound up in the hospital on an IV with COVID-19. Although he assures us he's recovering, he says it's the latest in a long list of medical ailments, including prostate cancer.
I have little to no immune system, and then they have to give me blood infusions every 4 weeks. Juju, I don't see me walking out here alive.
What have the conditions been like for you behind bars?
You have no windows. It's just a concrete room with no enrichment. No TV, no radio, no nothing. You cannot, in America, put a monkey in a cage according to the Animal Welfare Act and treat him like this.
The 7-episode series chronicled the life of Joe and the outlandish cast of characters in his life. The owner of the GW Zoo, which teamed with imported big cats, who he eventually began to breed, especially tigers. The #1 trend on Twitter at the time, Tiger King, ruling the social media jungle. And yet, as the program streamed in a whopping 64 million American households, Netflix's biggest hit at the time, there was one person who says he never watched it.
I haven't seen nothing.
And what have you heard about its popularity? Why do you think it became such a cultural phenomenon?
Look, I have received and answered back over 11,000 letters. And I get letters from 8-year-old kids to 95-year-old grandmas. And every letter says it's because I was unapologetic, I stood up for what I believed in, and because I'm not ashamed of who I am. And that is why Tiger King 1 was such a hit, and Tiger King 2 turned out to be a flop.
I read your book, your memoir. It is surprisingly poignant at times.
Keep in mind, I didn't promote that book. I was disappointed in the way it was edited. This was supposed to be my life story, okay? I wanted the world to know how difficult it is for people that have never been sexually abused as a child, being gay, trying to commit suicide, and all the way up to supporting a husband dying of AIDS. I'm so disgusted the way I've been exploited. It's crazy.
Who's exploited you, Joe?
Get on the internet and Google Joe Exotic and hit the shop button. and look, everybody in the world's making money off of me, but me.
While he sees himself as a victim, even in prison, he can't seem to shake serious accusations. A lot of people, including Carole Baskin, but a lot of others who've said that you treated animals cruelly or you euthanized tigers in the wrong way.
I euthanized tigers in the wrong way. I had a federal license by the United States Department of Agriculture, and their protocol, the veterinary protocol that was signed off for over 20 years, clearly states euthanization by injection or by gunshot.
So you're denying that you treated animals badly?
What do they call treating animals badly? Keeping them in cages? If people saw my videos on my YouTube channel, I walked in a cage with 20 full-grown tigers and lions at a time. Do you think if I abused them, they would allow that?
The buzz generated from Tiger King's massive success even sparked new interest in a cold case, the disappearance of Carole Baskin's ex-husband, Don Lewis. One theory in the series?
She fed her husband to the tigers.
It's a claim Baskin has repeatedly denied. Authorities have not identified any suspect in Lewis's disappearance, and his body has not been found. Despite this, Baskin would find herself returning to the spotlight in 2020, competing on Dancing with the Stars.
The cats would tell me to be fierce and to be strong and to roar like a tiger.
If you had a chance to say something to Carole Baskin now, what would you say?
What would I say? I am in prison and she can't leave me alone. So what would I like to say? Carole, go find another reason to live other than Joe Exotic. Because enough is enough.
Even while incarcerated, Joe still maintains a cult following and a steadfast hope. We haven't seen the last of him yet. One last word for your fans about what if they're not sure what to believe? Is Joe a murderer?
All I can say to them is keep believing in me. I'm not going to let you down. I love each and every one of you people.